Hey there, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to Complete Sports Media's podcast. We're really excited today. We've got a great day on tap, and there's so much to talk about in the world of sports. Wow. It's coming fast and furious with obviously with the pandemic and all these leagues shutting down and not being able to have any games going on, any different events happening. All of a sudden, now they're all trying to clamor together and make it happen. So lots to speak about. Wow, things in the Major League Baseball who can't seem to get out of their own way about disputes over money and length of season and things like that. To NBA thought they had a perfect plan to restart in Orlando and have the regular season conclude into the playoffs and crown a champion sometime in the fall. NHL as well, trying to do the same thing. And NFL having their issues and difficulties trying to make this season happen. With no fans, all the sports are going to lose money compared to what they were making going into the pandemic. But yeah, everybody's dying for sports. Hopefully they can recoup a lot of the money that they will lose from TV revenues and sponsorships and lots of different avenues and ways of doing it. But yeah, lots of contentious subjects, a lot of interesting things to talk about. Today we're excited. We're going to bring in a expert from some of these areas I've talked about. He's been a Bay Area resident for most of his life, and so focuses in on a lot of teams from that area. Obviously, I'm sporting the Golden State Warriors top here, and I got my Warriors hat in the background. I've been a big Warriors fan for a while, and they brought an exciting brand of basketball back to the NBA, and yeah, it'll be nice to ask him about some of the excitement that's happened with the Warriors over the years. Obviously, this was a down year with KD leaving, Steph Curry getting hurt, Klay Thompson as well, and lots of injuries, lots of tough things. Transitioning from Oakland to San Francisco and trying to start anew. Yeah, if everybody can be healthy, Andrew Wiggins joining the team and having a bunch of new players come in, I think the Warriors have a really good chance to contend again, and maybe they add one more piece and be able to go for another NBA championship. We're going to focus on baseball. Hendrix Young is a Giants fan and loves the Giants. Was able to see 3 World Series in the 2010s, 2010, 2012, and 2014, 3 championships there. Into the 2020s, we'll see how that team develops, and hopefully it can bring him some more championships. And he's going to talk about the A's and them being the lone Oakland team left after the Raiders left for Vegas and Warriors moved across the bay to San Francisco now. Oakland A's are the lone team to represent and hopefully be able to give that city some more glory. They've been blessed with the Warriors in the last 5 years, and it's been fantastic for that city. But yeah, it's got to be heartbreaking for tons of the citizens. So yeah, Hendrix Young is going to join us any moment here. Please stay tuned. It's going to be a fantastic podcast episode here. Yeah, we at Complete Sports want to bring you a variety of sports topics and up to the minute, up to the day things that are on the minds of most sports fans. And there's been some interesting developments today. Can't wait to make this quick announcement once Hendrix joins the line. Yeah, if you like our content, please subscribe. Please make some comments. Tell your friends. Press that like button on YouTube when it's posted, and yeah, let's increase our viewership. This is a brand new platform we're working on. Complete Sports Media has been around actually for 25 years in a variety of forms, but yeah, right now we're trying to shoot this podcast on a daily basis, and bringing you some people from around the world that can talk about sports and break down a lot of the different aspects that happen on a daily basis. We're going to have Hendrix, as I said, joining us today from a Bay Area perspective. We're going to have people all over the U.S., Canada, around the world. I was just speaking with a guy that lives in Helsinki, Finland. He's going to be able to provide us with some great insights in hockey and the like. And yeah, we've got so much to bring you, and please keep tuning in. We would love to have you as viewers and listeners, and be regular fans of the show. It's going to get more and more exciting all the time, and we've already been able to bring some really great content with some of our resident analysts, and can't believe how excited I am for more and more and more to come. So yeah, we it's going to be really great today to talk about the San Francisco and Oakland teams. Colin Kaepernick has been in the news a lot lately, and how his kneeling and protests over racial inequality and police brutality and things of that nature 4 years ago weren't really received very well. NFL has apologized recently and said that they were wrong, and also they posted a video saying that Roger Goodell encourages teams to sign him. So we've got some big news regarding that, some breaking news we just heard. I can't wait to share it with Hendrix and yourself. So let's dial Hendrix in. I think he's joining us any second here. Thanks so much for coming in. This is going to be really fun today. I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this ever since we connected earlier in the week, and said let's make this happen. So
yeah, dude, I'm stoked. I love talking sports, man. Let's do it.
Good. Yeah. Well, you're joining me on Complete Sports Media Podcast. We focus on sports here. We talk about a lot of the professional leagues. We're going to get into so many topics over this next little bit here, and we're joined by Hendrix Young. Hendrix was raised in the Bay Area, spent a lot of years there, is a big fan of the Bay Area sports teams, and he's going to bring an amazing perspective. Yeah, so actually, just before we started this call, I got some breaking news, and I can't wait to share it with you. I'm not sure if you heard, but Colin Kaepernick has been slated for a workout with the LA Chargers, and Kaepernick's been in the news a lot lately after the murder of George Floyd, and the NFL saying that they were wrong, and the way they handled the protest 4 years ago with Colin taking a knee and protesting on racial inequality and police brutality and all the civil instability that was in the States. And Colin's finally getting an opportunity to actually go to a team and get a real legitimate shot to make an NFL franchise. What are your thoughts?
Wow, dude, I didn't know he was getting a tryout. That's news. That is breaking news. I mean, when he was on the Niners, like, his numbers weren't great, but we're coming from Alex Smith, and then the whole kneeling thing happened. It's weird because a lot of my friends were like 50-50 on that. Like, a lot of them were like, "Hey, man, that's not the place to do that." Even my parents said stuff like that. But all this recent stuff that came out, everyone's kind of done a 180, like including the NFL, right? And it's for the better. Like, they're making the right choice. They got to get ahead of this thing before they get behind it. Like, we're all moving in the right direction. Like, we're getting progressive, and I don't know. Like, can he still play? That's another question. Like, he's been out of the league for so long. Who's their quarterback? They got Phillip Rivers? Who's out there?
Rivers left. He's with the Colts now, so they don't have him there. And so it's an opportunity for Colin possibly to step in. They drafted a young guy that's they're hoping to take over, but I don't know. But Colin might actually get a legitimate shot. But he missed. He's missed since 2016. He hasn't been out of the league. He's missed a few seasons in his in some prime areas of his career, and who knows, Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody knows if he still has it together enough to play. But I've seen a lot of backup quarterbacks not be very good in the NFL over the years and not be able to provide what the team needs to pull out some wins. So we'll see what
Yeah,
happens. And I'm just happy that the NFL has said mea culpa. We made a mistake. Please give him an opportunity. Please allow him a chance to show what he has, and if he has it, play back in the league again.
totally, dude. I mean, I've had this discussion with countless friends. Like, you could argue since he's been out for 4 years, he's got a little more mileage in the tank. But then you could also argue like he's not up to game speed. But then all my friends say he was never up to game speed. But yeah, I'm happy for the guy. I'm glad he's getting another shot. Chargers. Oh, okay.
When Kaepernick took the Niners to the Super Bowl early on in his career, he just seemed to have the world by the tail, and he was really highly touted guy. Everybody seemed to love him. What was the prevailing opinion of him back then? He seemed to be on a quarterback on the uprise that was going to have an amazing career.
I mean, like I said, we were coming from Alex Smith, and nobody says Alex Smith is a terrible quarterback because we know he's not. We went through 4 offensive coordinators, I think, with Alex Smith. It's just a frustration was setting in, and we had this new guy, Kaepernick, come in and just start, he was mobile sort of, and he wasn't throwing dimes, but he was getting the job done. But yeah, that Super Bowl was. I mean, I was up in Vancouver when that was going on, so I couldn't really hang with the home team. But God, that was when that power outage went down, and we were down by 20, and he missed the return. Oh my God.
Right.
Oh,
yeah. Well,
man.
anyway, that's it's fantastic to see. It's been a big topic of conversation. The Black Lives Matter movement has been really huge lately. Obviously, the murder of George Floyd, shed a light on this, made a lot of people stand up and say no more. Colin Kaepernick said it years ago, was never really acknowledged as, the leader of that cause. And, I'm glad he's finally getting his due. I'm glad he's, the NFL said we were wrong, and, acknowledging that, what he was doing was right, and trying to stop the systematic oppression of Black people there, and all the problems that they've, that has happened to them over the years, police brutality. And, that video, I think it's going to go down in history. It's going to be like a Rodney King video. Some of the
Totally.
footage from OJ being chased down the freeway, just something that, we'll probably never forget, and it'll be looked at as a big turning point in our lives.
I hope so, man. It's, I've been up here for 10 years. It's just, watching the States from afar, I'm in the bleachers. It's just, oh my God, it's sad,
It's tough.
Change is coming. It's good.
Yeah, change is coming. So, yeah, I want to pick a lot of topics to talk about today. I'd like to get into baseball. Baseball's been having some really hard problems trying to get together, the owners and the Players Association and the union trying to negotiate how long of a season they have, how they figure out the prorated salaries. It's really been tough. They could be playing games right now and be the only sport that's actually, team sport that's actually going, and it would be fantastic to see, but they just can't seem to get together and make it happen. What have you been, thinking about this?
I mean, yeah, bottom line, they blew it. This was it, man. They could have been, like you said, the only sport running right now, and tons of folks are at home, and we're in BC, so there's so many baseball heads out here. Yeah, they could have had it, man. And just, I guess, the owners and Manfred, they can't come to an agreement, and the owners won't take losses, and it's just dude, how greedy are you, man? Come on.
Right.
Let's get cracking here, man. I don't know. It's unfortunate that it's being treated as a business, and there's no love for the game, and it's coming from the owners and Manfred. Yeah, it's brutal, man. You heard his comments about the Houston Astros and the what he called the World Series. He
Right.
called it a piece of tin or a piece of metal. And he's like, this is a piece of metal. It's like,
Wow.
you know what you just said, man?
That's horrible. Yeah. Wasn't a good statement from the commissioner. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a Giants fan. Obviously you had amazing success there. 2010, 2012, 2014. That must have been fantastic for a fan like yourself. Tell me about some of those years and how great it was that they were able to pull it together. And, you had a win, an off year, then another win, an off year, another win. Wow. Unbelievable. What a run.
Yeah. Talk about sports fandom whiplash, cause I'm pretty sure, those in-between years, we didn't make the playoffs. This is a very strange circumstance that I don't know if I'll ever, experience again for a home team. But, being a Giants fan, my peak fandom was probably when they played the Angels back in the World Series in, I think, 2002. And dude, that team was stacked and we had it. I get texts from all my buddies and they're just like, dude, it's over. We did it. It's ours. Oh, wow. Man.
Wow.
Texting all my Dodger friends, fuck it. Yeah. But dude, it was
nice
incredible
to be able to
watching.
Rub it in. When my teams have won championships, I definitely rub it into a lot of the guys I know that aren't fans of my team. So, yeah, it's always pretty fantastic when you have bragging rights for a few years.
Oh, totally. And it's just baseball is my first love. So the Dodgers are public enemy number one, which makes this whole Astros cheating thing so hard because if you take that ring away from them, then it goes to the Dodgers, which nobody wants. And then so yeah, I don't know. It's incredible that they got 3 in 6 years, that dynasty, I guess. But I guess I have to get ready for the low times coming up.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the other team that won 3 championships. 3 championships by the Warriors. 5 NBA finals in a row. What an amazing dynasty that was. It's been fantastic. They've rejuvenated basketball in my mind. The style of play they had, Steph Curry coming in and shooting 3-pointers, Klay Thompson joining him. Obviously after that first championship and being able to bring KD over. Wow, what an organization that was for a few years there. They had a down year obviously this year, but I expect them to bounce back.
I hope so. I mean, those 3, 2.5, Draymond Green's the half. Those 3 in their peak is just incredible to watch. Just the first year they won, that they had so much depth down the bench. It was just like you said, it re-revolutionized basketball. Their movement. They're playing like the Spurs. Times 2.
Right.
So it's just I remember growing up watching little Monte Ellis with Steph Curry and Baron Davis. Those were the 3. And, nobody thought anything of Steph Curry. I'm going to be honest, I didn't think much of him. The guy was my weight. So, but, and then you see this dude sling it. And then, I don't know if I've ever seen a shooter like that. That's, it's the stuff he accomplishes and the timing, how he gets it off, while being challenged, hand in his face. Yeah, it's incredible to watch. And then they added KD, which I don't even know, where do you go from there?
Amazing.
There's interviews with Steve Kerr, and they always ask him these weird questions, how do you manage KD? And he's just I don't. I just put him out there, and he does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Steve Kerr learned from the best, Phil Jackson, and being around Michael Jordan. We watched The Last Dance and saw Steve Kerr played a pretty prominent role with that team as a role player. But totally. He learned from Phil Jackson and, has been able to join the Warriors, build them up to be a contender. That team, he basically just has to put them out there and let them play and get out of their way, like you say.
Totally. I hope they have a bounce back year. I mean, I read these articles about them trying to trade their first overall to, bring in a superstar and just bring him back to the top. But They got to get that bench. You know, they need depth. You know, they really cleared out bringing KD in, but you know, you got 2 rings out of it, I guess. So, you know, like is it? I guess it's worth it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's difficult in NBA. Well, it's difficult in sports these days when they have, you know, when they have success. All of a sudden, everybody wants more money, and you know, it can definitely thin out your depth. It has a lot of troubles, you know, being able to keep guys. Even the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th guy on your roster wants more money, and so there has to be always some moving pieces, shuffling in, shuffling out, and you know, after going to the finals 5 years in a row, every agent of every one of those players that was on the roster asked for more money. So, you know, it's tough. It's tough to keep an organization. And, you know, I said the Giants were a dynasty because, you know, they had to retool again in that off year, figure out what they needed, how they can, you know, pay the guys they could. If they couldn't pay the guys, they had to send them on their way and try to replace them. And then, you know, they showed some amazing success by able to take an off year, win another championship, take an off year, win another championship, you know. And if LeBron James didn't, you know, stand on his head and Kyrie Irving hit some fantastic shots, the Warriors probably would have won 4 in a row there. And, you know, that's a super, super dynasty, you know, even bettering Michael Jordan because he had that 2-year hiatus for baseball, right? So.
Yeah. You know, I'm glad the Raptors got one, but, you know, you got to think if KD and what's his name, Klay Thompson aren't hurt, you know, what happens?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it goes down. That's sports. You know, injuries are part of it.
It was good for basketball here in Canada, though. I've never seen basketball's popularity get higher than hockey, but it happened that year. There wasn't any Canadian teams left in the NHL, so a lot of you know, hockey fans had sort of tuned out. And all of a sudden, the Raptors just went on this magical run. Kawhi Leonard, you know, showed how incredibly talented and how much he could will the team to win. And, you know, all the other players rose to the best performances of their lives. And, you know, they got a championship here. And, you know, I think it's going to help Canadian basketball for decades to come. There's going to be so many young kids that watch those games and realized how fun the game is, how incredibly exciting it could be. And you know, it was great to see. You know, it hurt me right to the heart being a Warriors fan. It was really, really tough. But you know, I wish Toronto had faced anybody else, because anybody else I would have been jumping on their bandwagon and been riding it right to the top. But you know,
dude, it was hard for me up here. It was hard.
No kidding.
I was watching with a bunch of Raptors fans, and like the whole time, just like, this is the worst.
I know, everywhere I went, it was all Raptors fans and me. There was very few Warriors fans, and you know, I'd go to a bar and there was 500 people in there, and I'm the only one cheering for the Warriors. It was really challenging. Yeah, I realized it's better to stay home. Yeah, but oh man, it was tough. I thought I was really cheering for the Raptors until they got into that final. So it was hard. It was hard to, you know, sort of realize that my allegiance, I just couldn't get away from the Warriors. And so it was tough. But like I said, I was happy for you know, the fans here. I was happy for the city of Toronto. I was happy for the country of Canada. I was happy for basketball. And we're going to see a lot more Canadians in the league because of it, you know. You know, Vince Carter had that effect on Canada basketball, going to the Raptors, being able to, you know, be Air Canada, you know, win the dunk contest, you know, be one of the most exciting players. All of a sudden, you know, we don't see guys like Andrew Wiggins. We don't see a lot of the talent that's in the NBA. We don't see Tristan Thompson if Vince Carter did not exist in Canada. So, you know, I see that happen in a lot of sports. An amazing, talented player comes in, and then, you know, 10, 15, 20 years later, all of a sudden, all the guys that idolized him are making the leagues now, and, you know, saying that he was their hero, influenced them and made them want to become a star. And, you know, it's great. I think I want basketball to rival the NHL in popularity here, which, you know, it's never even been close. But this past year, you know, was a typical example of it happening finally.
Totally, man. And, you know, I hope we get a team up here.
Yeah.
Something like MLB or NBA. I've been saying this for a minute. Like, God, how cool would that be? Bring back some semblance of the Grizzlies. I guess they'd be something else.
Well, I think it's realistically on the horizon with Seattle finally getting an NHL franchise. They refurbished Key Arena down there in Seattle, and the Sonics leaving really hurt, a lot of the Northwest fans. People that were NBA fans here typically were Sonics fans. It's a quick 2-hour drive down the I-5, and you can watch live games. And Sonics had some really great success with Sean Kemp and Gary Payton, and they were able to go to that final against the Bulls in '96, and the popularity of the NBA was pretty huge there. It was really shocking when they left, and there's been a lot of talk about the possibility of it coming back, but now that the Key Arena is refurbished, they got a tenant in there with the new Seattle team, hockey team. I think that paves the way for the NBA to come back in there, and then it's really great to have a rivalry 2 hours away for the NBA to come back to Vancouver. So, and David Stern, said in his tenure, losing the Vancouver Grizzlies and allowing them to move was one of the worst mistakes and the worst regrets he had in his tenure. And Adam Silver learned so much from David Stern, and he's doing a fantastic job with the NBA. I think if the right people get in place, I think we can see the NBA back here in the Pacific Northwest, here in Vancouver and in Seattle. So I think it's going to happen.
That'd be awesome, man. I'm tired of going to Vancouver Warrior games.
I see. Yeah. I want to focus on the A's a little bit right now. We were texting a little bit back and forth earlier, and you said that you're really hoping that the A's can win a championship at some point soon. And with that city having to lose the Raiders and now to Vegas, and losing the Warriors to go across the bay, they're the really only team in the Big Four sports that has a chance. And tell me about your thoughts about the A's finally being able to raise a banner soon.
As soon as I sent that text to you, and I was like, they need one, I was like, I guess they had the Warriors and just got 3, so they're not reeling. Like, they're not like it's like in Cleveland, right? But it's pretty brutal that they lost. Yeah, they lost their whole stadium more or less. And there's talk about the Oakland Coliseum going down and building a new one in Jack London. Like, they've been talking about that for 15 years. And Moneyball is one of my favorite movies of all time, man. Like I tear up during that movie. Oh my God, Darren. I got it right there too. I got the same fucking thing. Dude, big fan of Michael Lewis. He's from Berkeley.
Yeah, sure.
Growing up, you hear Canseco's just a moron. You got, Mark McGuire used to be an A. You got Giambi, all these, Miguel Tejada. The last ring I remember hearing about was the earthquake year where they played the Giants, and I guess 89, 88, something like that.
89, you're right. 89, yep. The earthquake year. And, Battle of the Bay, which was pretty fantastic for that area of the country.
Battle of the Bay. That would, and then I'm in Vancouver, of course. But dude, I would really love that franchise to get one before they get moved somewhere else. I don't know that team has such a stigma around them,
Yeah.
They're always the poor. Have you been to the Oakland Coliseum?
Oh, many times. Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Holy, there's more cement than seats. It's insane, dude.
Yeah, I know. Crazy. Well, that's something I want to get into. Oakland A's have always cried poor. Obviously, they had to create Moneyball to try to compete, they said. But, why is that? Why did they have to say that? Because how did the Warriors be able to put together a championship run like this? Warriors' salary is massive. They play only half as much of home games as the A's. If the A's can fill that stadium and pack it in for 81 home dates and, be able to make it, a must-see event like the Warriors have become, they should be able to have some, high-profile guys and keep them. They were always just bring a guy on. As soon as he'd get good, boom, he's out the door and, bring in some prospects. And, how frustrating is is that for the fans and for the people that cover that team? You know, always having these stars leave. It's just not fair. It wasn't fair.
Totally. And, like the book and the movie Moneyball covered that. It's like they're more or less just a farm system for the Sox or the Yankees. Johnny Dame, like that was just huge, man. Like
Yeah.
At that point, you're just like, well, cool. Nobody's going to want to stay here. Like,
Yeah.
The ownership says they make money. Like, I don't understand. Like, there was a point in time, and I'm not joking, you could pay $20. They would give you a hot dog, a giant drink, and your seats were solid. $20. And like, you can play an inning maybe. Like, it was insane. They needed people coming in.
Yeah.
It's just, they've always been just kind of a joke ever, like they haven't really had success for a while. And like, anytime they make the playoffs, they get rolled in the first, the wild card or the first round. Like, it's just a franchise I want to see do well. They've always been kind of like my little sister team, like my second favorite.
Yeah.
So yeah, want to get one for them.
I'm going to give you some stats here that just blow my mind here. Like the Golden State Warriors were able to build that franchise, like I said, and they're paying this year. They're paying Steph Curry $43 million. Clay's making $35.3. Andrew Wiggins that they just brought in, but his salary is $29.5, and Draymond Green's $22 million a year, and they're able to afford those salaries. KD obviously was making 30 something. They were able to afford those salaries, bring them in on what was coming from the local economy there. And like I said, half as many home dates in a much smaller stadium. And they're able to build that team, pay these guys, top rate. Steph makes the most in any NBA player. And we've got the A's, and, I listed off their top salary guys. Right now, Chris Davis makes the most for the A's. He's paid $16.75 million, which sounds like a lot, but that's actually 71st in Major League Baseball for a salary. So top guys making the 71st highest amount of money. It's hard to keep guys. The guys want to re-sign there. You're going to get it. How are you going to get free agents? You just have to keep building it through this farm system. But they keep going to the Sox and the Yankees. It's unfair, really unfair.
Yeah, and I mean, like Oakland's so close to San Francisco that you can't really say that they don't have like players don't want to move there. No offense, Winnipeg. Like it's just less of a draw.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's just I don't know.
Yeah, it just blows my mind. I went down their roster. Most of the guys are late 20s, early 30s. Marcus Semion's making $13 million. He's 29 years old, 98th highest paid player. Joaquin Soria, the relief pitcher, $8.5 million, 36 years old, 98th highest. And Michael Fyers, he's making $8.1 million, 170th highest salary in Major League Baseball. And they're top four guys. It's a shock. It's horrible. I don't get it. Just across the bay, San Francisco, they have the Giants. They, have some of the best pitchers in baseball year after year. They have a stacked roster all the time. And, it's just tale of two cities that just, can see each other. It's crazy. It's insane. I don't know what's going on in Oakland, why the ship is sinking there, especially, the Raiders leaving. Did that rip the heart out of that city? They've had it happen one time before when they moved to LA, and now they got him back. But what do you think the sentiment is of the guys that lost the Raiders that were rabid fans, some of the most rabid fans in the NFL?
100%. I mean, this is just anecdotal from my experience, but like every single person that is a Raider fan hates that team now.
Wow.
Or let me rephrase. They hate not Mark Davis. Mark Davis, the son, the one with the haircut.
Yeah.
What the hell was he thinking? Yeah, like
Fire
my dad. He flies for that. Did you hear about that?
No, bizarre.
He flies to a place to get that done. Like, dude, I got a salad bowl. Like,
yeah, you can pay me to do that.
Yeah, so my dad, he's born and raised in Oakland. He had season tickets to the Raiders, and this is how I know he was a diehard. I was like, oh, who'd you go with? And he's like, oh, I just went alone. I was like, that is the saddest sports thing I've ever heard, but you are a G. Like,
right.
Like just going to a Raider game alone, like, he's, he's distraught. He's pissed off. It sucks. Like that was the team. Like, you're not only just losing that team had so much like culture around it too. Like, a lot of, not gangs, but, a lot of groups like adopted that culture, that logo. It's got so much presence, like it represents more than just the team. It's like the area, like it's a kind of every team says this, but like, it's a pretty good community, the fandom.
Yeah.
And, yeah, man, it's brutal. Like it's such a weird thing. Like some teams, like I can kind of get used to just moving away, and I'm like, used to it. Like last time I saw a Pelican, every time I see the Pelicans logo, I'm just like, that's not a real team. Like just because I'm so not used to it, right? It's not because of the product that they put out, but it's just, yeah, it's so weird, man. The Vegas Raiders. Say that 1,000 times, it'll still sound weird. Like, yeah,
it's gonna sound weird for the rest of my life, I think, for sure. We saw the film with NWA, and saw how much the rap community represented. We always saw them sporting Raiders hats and jerseys and shirts, and that was a massive community. Rap community coming out of Oakland has always been legendary and fantastic, and they always gravitated to the Raiders gear, and it showed it around the world. And I think a lot of honestly, a lot of fans of the Raiders is because of that black and silver, and the amazing logo they have, and just the fans that will go and they'll dress up and they'll be extreme fans. It's incredible.
Hole.
I've been in the black hole, and it's an incredible place. It's an incredible place.
Look, I've never been in there.
Wow.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Good times. And I feel sorry for the fans there. I did see a rally around these Black Lives Matter protests. I saw Clay and Steph out on the streets, and a lot of the other Warriors players joining in, and it was really nice to see them supporting their community that they started their careers in, and spent so many years and had so much success, and be able to give back to that community. And that community does have a predominantly Black community, and they're hurting over this, and they've had lots of problems over the years with police brutality and social inequality, and so it's nice to see the Warriors going back there and giving them as much support as they receive back from the community.
Totally, yeah. They're very active. Like I kind of follow their Instagrams, like Clay at least, and he's always doing shit. And I think the Warriors are lucky that they have those two. I mean, Draymond's a little more mouthy, but the other two are fairly like the Mike Trout of basketball. Like, just can't really say anything wrong about him. Like, what are your thoughts on Kyrie Irving trying to, get players to sit out?
Yeah, well, that was definitely a subject I wanted to talk to you about. To me, I don't find that he's been able to deliver a clear message on why he wants to have this coalition and why he wants to have players miss this NBA season. I think he's wrong on his platform so far. He might be able to come up with a detailed plan on why this is the approach to take. But all these guys have a platform because they're in the NBA, because they're playing games, and they're attracting fans to their sport. And the fans are missing out. They've missed out for the last 3 months over this pandemic. And NBA fans want to watch NBA basketball. They don't. They want to be able to support the guys they love and have this happen. And the NBA put together an amazing proposal, having the bubble in Arizona, Orlando, and pull it off. And this is trying times, but I hope he's not successful in convincing most of the NBA players to boycott the season and not play. I hope en masse they go and they play and they have a great finish to the regular season and great playoffs.
Yeah, that's going to be wild, Orlando. Imagine those after games, and that campus. Holy cow! Do you see the list of hotels where they're all in?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah. It looks like
What
it's going to
timeline
be.
is this?
It looks like it's going to be, great. Honestly, there are, obviously some challenges, and hopefully they can work them out. It's going to be tough for some guys that don't get to see a lot of their family for months at a time, especially the teams that are expected to go really far and into the finals and stuff. Yeah, you feel for them, but a lot of them have had a lot of time with their families during this pandemic and being able to catch up and really get closer to the kids, the wives, the mothers, and brothers and
Yeah.
sisters and all that. So yeah, there's a bit of a sacrifice for sure. Yeah, I agree. If a guy opts out because he just wants to be close to his family, he's worried too much about their health and missing them too much, I got no problem with that. But just to say that they don't want to play because they're not being able to further this Black Lives Matter cause and all the other aspects of that, I don't think it's right. I think they'll be able to do just as much being there and be able to be together as a big community and be able to get the message out every day, really.
Yeah, I know, I agree. And the players that are pushing back against him, they make a good point. Like they don't make as much money as you, Kyrie. Like they can't like they got to feed their families, dude. Like, and also they could use the platform to help to further the message. Like you can use it to do what Kyrie wants. Just I don't know. Kyrie's he's a bit of a wild card. Like the whole flat Earth thing. Like I don't know. Like,
Right.
Like when somebody says that, then you're like, okay, everything is second guessed. Like,
true. Good point. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it comes back, man. Like,
yeah, I miss basketball so much. I had such a fantastic time the last 5 years. The Warriors have been so dominant, and being able to be in all these finals and show so many incredible performances, and like we talked about earlier, having the Raptors be so successful, and having NBA be very popular here, and yesterday was actually the 5th anniversary of the first Warriors title, and I noticed that there was a very strange name in the MVP slot that I haven't thought huge amount about, but yeah, it was Andre Iguodala. Yeah, and Steph Curry. Steph Curry. There's no Warriors making it to the final without Steph Curry, and
true.
Yay, Andre did okay, but Steph deserves that, and I think for the rest of history, that to me that's a big disappointment that the NBA gave it to somebody that I think definitely Steph Curry should have been the man.
Oh no, I agree with you. It's just what I think happened is because there was a couple games where Iggy just shut down LeBron. I think that was his assignment, and that kind of just took this. Like everyone was like, "Oh my God, someone can stop him!" Like,
yeah.
So I think that might have taken hold of the headlines. But I totally agree. They don't get there without Curry. Like,
no. I know that people
sure.
say that with Andre, but I think next time we talk, I'm going to list off the performances LeBron had in that series, and you'll be like, maybe it wasn't really shut down. They talked about him shutting him down, and LeBron still got 44 and 8 and 6 and stuff like that. So it wasn't. It was maybe stopping incredible human from getting 50 or more. But
I think it's okay. I think I might be misremembering. I think because after he won, everyone was like, oh, okay, I guess it was kind of strong if they say so. But if you got the receipts, I trust you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was great to see some of the footage yesterday of them celebrating, them finally getting that title. Like you say, Steph Curry was, dismissed. He was dismissed by many colleges, and even his father said, I thought, he probably wouldn't make the NBA. He might be able to have a career in Europe, might have an opportunity to go over there. And Del Curry was a man before his times, shot a lot more threes than most guys did. And I think Steph realized, hey, that's got to be my game. I'm small, and I've got to have this quick release. We've never seen a better shot in the history of the NBA. We've never seen a more quicker release. And, he's deadly. He just steps across half court, and all of a sudden you got to be like, what's he going to do? And, he can sink it from anywhere.
Insane. From a defensive standpoint, you got to extend, It's just a night. That must be a nightmare to like guard, like play defense against, especially with KD out there too. So like you can't double anyone because then they'll just find the open man. But then he's hitting threes from 3 feet outside the arc. Like, the hell are you supposed to do, man? Like,
No
like what do you do?
Yeah, no
Like,
kidding.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, yeah, he's one of the most unguardable players that have ever existed in the NBA. And my view of him was a guy like Steve Nash made the NBA, and had this up tempo style, was able to be phenomenal with Phoenix, and start. That was the start of when they got the ball and they needed to score 7 seconds, 10 seconds. That was it. They had to take a shot, and Steve Nash was such a facilitator, great shooter, but he became such an amazing passer, amazing guy to have on the court. And I think it paved the way for a guy like Steph Curry. And my love of the NBA was really huge when Steve Nash was in his prime. And then it waned a little bit, and then it started picking back up big time again when Steph, started being so prolific.
Totally. And like, think about what that's doing to the youth.
Yeah.
Like we're grown ass men and we're just getting inspired. Like, think about these kids. Like,
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's great. It's so great it's great to drive by basketball courts and see them full now. During that pandemic, they were shutting down everything, playgrounds and everything. But now I'm seeing it again. And during that Raptors run, I couldn't believe how many kids I saw dribbling a basketball. How many kids were sporting gear. It was fantastic. It was so great. It's
totally,
a wonderful sport. And I've got my Warriors hat right there. I've got my Warriors gear. I've got
I got my A's.
Warriors are in my blood, and Steph brought that back, and gave that to me. And I've seen almost every game in the past 5 years by them, and it's must see TV for me. It's something that I can't miss.
Totally, dude. That's exactly it. Like you don't even have to be a fan of the Warriors. Like just watching them is it's basketball that's fast. It's creative. The league is starting taking notice now. Like everyone's sort of adapting to the style now. But back in 2016 or 12, that area, like Steve Kerr was like, they were doing stuff that it was like West Coast football. That whole change, like just changed the dynamic. I remember reading about these like youth basketball camps back in the day having issues because all these kids were shooting threes. Like they were just like all fundamentals out the window. They're just like, well, Curry can hit it. It's like,
watch.
Yeah,
Right.
Like it's just crazy how like all these basketball schools they're like, yeah, all these kids are shooting it now. It's like, no, we got to, pass twice, shoot, like, it's crazy. It's changing the landscape, and it's awesome, right? Like that's growing the sport. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah. Well, I see your A's hat there. I want you to do a little research. Tell me about how the A's and the Giants are looking coming into this Major League Baseball season. If they can figure it out and have a season, I think they're probably going to play in the neighborhood of about 50 games and have a shortened season, and then be able to finish in October like they want to. Have the playoffs happen when they normally do. Let me know if you can give me some nuggets on some of those teams. I haven't been focusing in on the Giants or the A's recently, but love to find out how they're looking.
Yeah, dude, definitely. It's funny because like I haven't really cared about the MLB draft in a while, but like since this quarantine pandemic thing, got nothing else to read, so just sitting watching the draft. Nice. Who watches the draft?
The draft has become huge during the pandemic. You're right. Look at that NFL draft. They had it virtually, and I think that was one of the highest rated shows on ESPN ever. And it's pretty. They pulled it off quite fantastically. It was pretty cool to see every guy celebrate with his family in his house, and
that was cool.
Yeah, that was neat. Yeah, it was really fun, and I've been watching drafts like never before too. It's been fun. It's been neat to have that time. I think I was consumed with so many games all the time that it was hard to fit drafts into my schedule all the time. But now, why not? Like, let's find out how what's this new crop coming in.
Dude, I've been so jonesing for sports. I loaded up like MLB The Show, and I just watched a computer play against a computer and just sat back like it was a game. Yeah, it was super sad.
It's
but
been,
like found myself getting excited, and I'm like, oh shit, he's going in and out. Oh yeah, okay, yep. Like,
That's awesome.
Brutal.
Good for you. Well, at least you're figuring out ways to make it happen.
I got to get outside more.
Any thoughts? I know the Sharks are your team. Any thoughts of the NHL trying to put together? They're trying to figure out a hub city, but they've got this 24 team playoff format and everything figured out. What are your thoughts there?
I mean, like, since I'm Jones, and I'll take anything, right? I'll take any format, anything you want, death match, anything. It's just, it sucks because the Sharks aren't involved.
Yeah.
And like, we're normally involved.
Yeah.
But we're in a bit of a rebuild, so I think I'll just sit back and enjoy these weird prorated playoffs. I'm a little worried because it's just kind of like the NBA. All it takes is one dude, and that whole thing is going to come down. Because I don't know how accurate this is, but I remember reading about a minor league. I don't know which league it was, but a minor league starting up again, and within a week they had to shut down because of COVID. Like, it just got, blossomed.
Crazy.
So yeah, so I'm a little worried, but NHL's got money, NBA's got money. If they stay on top of the testing, like keep everyone safe, like just it's babysit basically.
Yeah. I guess that's what it's got to be. And yeah. Well, we hope, like you say, the NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and football. They've got the funds, they've got the wherewithal to make it happen. We're all dying for sports. It would be sad if they started the league up and tons of players contracted the virus and they had to shut it back down again. And
totally.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I hope they can just make it work. It's necessary for the world, I think.
Totally. And give the players an option to opt out, because obviously some of them have existing pre-existing conditions, so give them that option and we'll see what's left. Like, they're not forced. So
yeah. I wanted to say something in closing. The Giants lost one of their pioneers yesterday, Mike McCormick. He died yesterday from a long bout with Parkinson's disease. Had an amazing life. 81 years old. I had an opportunity to meet him on a few occasions over the years. He was just he just championed the Giants. He was on the original San Francisco Giants team after they moved from New York. Right. He's always been called Mr. 500 because he hit the 500th home run of any pitchers combined in the Major League Baseball, and he gave up the home run to Hank Aaron for his 500th home run in his career. So he had that on his license plate. He had that that tag and that
poetry,
label.
Dude.
It was pretty incredible, and he was famous for that. But he was also famous in San Francisco. He was at every fantasy camp. He was always at every appearance. He went to so many games. I saw him on broadcasts all the time because, he was just such a great guy and amazing competitor. He won the Cy Young Award in '67, and baseball. And do you think you were named after Cy Young also, or you think your bloodlines maybe go back that far?
You can see the resemblance. Shit, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really. That dude he's like a legend, like a local legend, or a team legend. But I honestly don't know much. Like, those stats you just read out to me I might have known them or heard them in the past, but they're not something that really stuck with me. Same with Willie McCovey. Like, it's so far ahead of my time that I can only look at them as legends without having any
of course,
personal connection, kind of.
Sure.
But it's sad to lose a guy who more or less put your team on the map. It's just Willie McCovey was another one. So
I met a few years back here in Vancouver. I was sitting at a local pub, and a guy next to me started chatting, and he told me that he lived right across the street from Barry Bonds and ended up actually babysitting Barry Bonds. He lived Bobby Bonds was on the Giants back then. He actually spent a lot of time with Willie Mays and all those legends from back then. He said he became a massive baseball fan. He, it just became his life. He became a season ticket holder, and he was to that day. I would say he was definitely well into his retirement years when we met.
Damn.
And it was one of the best afternoons I ever had talking baseball with this guy. And, I just love how much history that Giants organization has, and how many fantastic Hall of Fame players have played there. And they're lucky. Let's hope Oakland can figure it out and build an organization that respected and that legendary eventually one day.
Yeah, that'd be great. It's just can they do it with the soft cap in place? Like, is it possible? I mean, can another Moneyball type strategy come to fruition?
Right.
I don't know. It's interesting to see, man. Yeah, I mean, Giants have had their run, so A's are next, man. Like, I love those colors. I love that fucking elephant. Like,
yeah. Good luck. Yeah, let's hope it happens for you. I'll be the first to send you a congratulations text when it happens, and we'll celebrate together. So yeah, this has been so great, Hendrix. I'm so glad you joined me, and we've covered a lot of great topics today. I'm sure the viewers and listeners are going to love it. And let's make this a regular thing. I'd really like to touch base quite often.
Dude, this was so much fun. I hope we can use some of this.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's do it again. So I'm going to send you on your way. You just disconnect. I'll give you a call really soon, and we'll debrief it a bit, and then we'll touch base again very soon, buddy. Take care. Thanks so much. Appreciate the time. Enjoy your day, and we'll talk soon.
Stay safe, buddy. Good to see you.
Okay, you too. Take
Cheers.
care. Bye-bye. Wow. There it was. Yeah, another great edition of Complete Sports Media Podcast. Yeah, wow. Breaking down the Bay Area was super fun. It was really great to be able to touch on so many different subjects. Obviously, a few different leagues, but the general focus on teams that are near and dear to his heart, growing up in that Bay Area. He's spent years obviously up here in Canada now, but his heart is on his sleeve and always has tons of allegiance to all those teams. I think baseball is his number one love, but he's been a fan of all those teams around there. And when I meet people that are so in love with sports and have followed teams so loyally over their lifetime, it's a wonderful thing. It's lends to some great conversations. I really wanted to bring him in and have a conversation like this today, and I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. It was a lot of fun, and always is on Complete Sports Media. Please keep tuning in, subscribing to my channel, listening to my podcasts, and pressing that like button. Throw me some comments. Tell me what you want to hear. Maybe you have some ideas, and if I can make it work, I will. This is this is a lot of fun, and I want to bring you more and more content that you want to hear and see. So looking forward to connecting with you very, very soon. All the best. Take care of yourself. Have a great day. Bye for now.